The warning ignored the stars were quiet, as they had been for centuries. Ships moved between worlds, carrying goods, people, and politics. The Galactic Council ruled over hundreds of species. It was powerful, proud, and unchallenged. Inside this council chamber, lights flickered, and screens showed a new planet on display. Earth. "This planet has advanced faster than expected," said a tall, four-eyed alien named Zarthan. His skin was silver, and his voice was deep. He stood at the center of the Great Hall. "Humans have developed weapons we don't understand. We must observe carefully." Laughter echoed through the room. A lizard-like creature with golden armor hissed, "They are nothing. They just discovered space travel a few years ago. Primitive apes with big dreams." Zarthan didn't laugh. "They defeated 2 scout ships last month. Our AI systems couldn't even read their defense patterns." Another counselor with blue scales and 6 arms waved him off. "Probably luck or stolen tech. They don't matter." But Zarthan's eyes were cold. He tapped on a screen. A blurry image appeared, something massive hidden beneath Earth's oceans. Not a city, not a base, but a shape. Round, smooth, and glowing. "This is not human-made," he said. "And it's waking up." The room grew silent for a moment. Then someone scoffed, "You believe in ghost ships now?" "Enough," said the High Chancellor. "Let's vote. Do we strike now or wait?" One by one, counselors raised their hands. The vote was clear. Attack Earth immediately. Zarthan sat back, defeated. "You are making a mistake," he whispered. "They are not what they seem." Far away, on Earth, a woman named Dr. Mira stood in an underground lab near the Mariana Trench. Her hands shook slightly as she looked at the readings. The ocean sensors were flashing red. The object they had been studying for 30 years, something older than humanity, was starting to glow. "Are you seeing this?" Her assistant asked. Myra nodded slowly. "It's waking up. After thousands of years." The object was not metal. It was not stone. It was something in between smooth, black, and cold. It didn't match any known element. And no one knew how deep it went. They only called it by one name: judgment. For decades, Earth's governments had hidden it, afraid of what it might do. Some believed it was a gift, others a curse. Now it was too late to wonder. In space, near Jupiter, hundreds of alien warships appeared, long, sharp, glowing with red energy. The Galactic Council fleet was here, their weapons charged. Their orders were simple: show force, make humans kneel. "Open channel," one commander barked. A message was sent to Earth. "This is the Council. You are out of control. You will surrender. You are not allowed to expand further." Back on Earth, leaders sat in silence. No one knew what to say. Then a single voice broke the tension. Dr. Mira, broadcasting from her lab. "We cannot fight them," she said, calm and firm. "But judgment can." Nobody answered her. But everyone listened. Deep beneath the ocean, a sound echoed, a low hum, rising in pitch. The waters trembled, fish scattered, whales fled. The surface cracked, and then light burst through. The sea boiled. The clouds spun, and from the trench something massive rose. A ship, it could be called that, larger than a city, shaped like a blade, surrounded by a glow not of fire, but of space itself. It didn't move with engines. It floated like thought. The council ship saw it. Sensors failed. Communications broke. One captain screamed, "It's bending gravity. What is that thing?" But the warship said nothing. In the galactic chamber, alarm sounded. Zarthan looked up at the live feed, eyes wide, but not surprised. "Warned you," he said. Back in space, Earth sent its reply. A single sentence. One voice: "You've made a mistake." The council fired first. Nothing happened. Their beams hit the ship and vanished. Judgment didn't flinch. It simply powered up. Lights ran down its sides. Symbols no one could read. A pulse echoed through space. Not sound, but something that felt like sound, like a heartbeat. The war had begun, but Earth hadn't started it. Now, the galaxy would see what judgment really was. Asterisk, the first contact, and the first mistake third person. Simple basic English. Approximately 850 words. The sky above Earth was no longer blue. It shimmered, bent by invisible forces. All over the planet, people stood still on rooftops, in streets, inside ships, and stared at the thing now floating above the ocean. It wasn't just big. It was impossible. The judgment didn't shine like metal. It pulsed like it was alive. Its edges were smooth, but not man-made. Its glow didn't light up the water. It made it disappear. Even Earth's own satellites couldn't get a clear image. Every time someone zoomed in, the ship appeared different. Some said it had no true shape. Others believed it changed, depending on who was watching. Dr. Myra stood in the control room, her hands locked behind her back. She whispered to her assistant, "It's not a machine. It's a mind." In orbit, the Council fleet stood ready. Over 300 ships, equipped with weapons capable of burning moons, faced the judgment. Captain Krovak, a tall insectoid creature with blades for arms, barked out commands. Target the anomaly. Fire all cannons. His crew hesitated. Now, he roared. The sky lit up. Red, green, violet lasers tore through space, all heading for the judgment. For a moment, silence. Then, the beams froze mid-air. Not slowed. Not blocked. Just stuck, like time had stopped. Then they bent, like metal melting in heat, and disappeared into the void. Not a scratch on the warship. Not even a sound. Captain Krovak took a step back. What is that thing? His screen blinked. Incoming. Transmission. From Earth. No image. Just a calm voice. You were warned. Back on Earth, Myra's lab was shaking. Lights flickered. But she wasn't afraid. She turned to a console and whispered, "It heard us." The assistant looked confused. Who? The warship? No, Myra said, her eyes locked on a glowing symbol now printed on every screen. The one inside it. On the Council's flagship, another captain tried something desperate. He launched a probe, a small, unarmed drone meant for scanning. As the probe neared the judgment, it suddenly stopped. In mid-space. No gravity well, no force field. Just stillness. Then, slowly, the drone turned around on its own. It sent back a picture. Everyone in the Council fleet stared at their screens. The image showed something inside the ship. A shape, a seat, a figure. Humanoid. But not alive? Or maybe not yet. Back on the Galactic Council station, Zarthan stood in the middle of chaos. Alarms blared. Leaders shouted. Some demanded retreat. Others ordered reinforcements. Zarthan raised one hand and shouted, "Listen to me." Everyone went quiet. He pointed at the image. That is not human tech. That is not human design. But it chose Earth. Why? No one answered. So he spoke again. Because Earth didn't build judgment. Earth woke it. In deep space, something shifted. The judgment turned slowly, without moving its parts. No thrust. No noise. Just reality bending around it. Then it spoke. No mouth. No face. Just a sound that echoed through every ship, every mind. You have struck first. You will not strike again. One of the smaller Council destroyers tried to run. It never made it far. A single line of light appeared. In space, thin, clean, silent. The ship simply vanished. No fire. No wreck. Just Gone. Panic spread. Ships turned. Screams echoed. Commanders begged for orders, but it was too late. The judgment didn't chase. It didn't fire again. It just hovered, still as death, but louder than war. On Earth, the oceans calmed. People watched in silence. Some cried. Some prayed. Some cheered. Doctor. Mayra touched the glass, whispering, "It's protecting us." Her assistant asked, "But why? Why now?" She shook her head. Maybe it was waiting. Above, the stars blinked. And for the first time in 1,000 years, the galaxy felt fear, because the first contact with Earth had begun, and the first mistake was thinking humans were alone. Asterisk. The warship awakens third person. Simple English. Approximately 850 words. The judgment hovered above Earth like a silent mountain in the sky. No engines, no wings, no visible weapons. Yet the entire galactic fleet stood still, frozen in fear. No one moved. No one spoke. It was as if time itself had stopped. But inside the mysterious ship, something was changing. In her lab, Dr. Myra watched her screens closely. Symbols danced across the monitor, symbols, not of human design. They moved like waves, glowing softly, reshaping into new forms with every second. "It's communicating," Mayra whispered. "But not with us." Her assistant leaned in. "Then who?" Myra didn't answer right away. Her heart was beating fast. She stared at one particular pattern. It pulsed 3 times, then paused, then again, and again. A heartbeat. "The ship is alive," she said. Above Earth, Judgment's body began to shift. Slowly, pieces unfolded like petals of a giant flower. But there was no metal creaking, no smoke, no fire. Just smooth, perfect transformation. Panels open to reveal glowing tunnels inside, circuits flowing like rivers. Lights pulsing like stars. At the center of it all, a chamber, and inside it, a figure. The Council's long-range scans finally focused. The image was blurry, but real. It was humanoid. Tall, armored, eyes closed, floating inside the ship like it was asleep or in stasis. Zarthan stared at the live feed from the Council station. This isn't a drone. It's not AI. It's something else. Another counselor, shaking, whispered, "A guardian?" "No," Zarthan replied. "A prisoner or a key." Captain Krovak, still orbiting Earth, couldn't stay silent. "This ship has not fired a single weapon," he shouted. "We can take it." He sent a new command, 20 attack drones, fast and small, to enter the ship and destroy the core. The drones raced forward. As they reached the edge of the Judgment's hull, they vanished. Not exploded, not destroyed, erased. One by one, signals were lost. Screens turned black. Then came the sound. A soft low, deep. It wasn't coming from Earth. It was coming from the galaxy itself. Dr. Myra dropped her headset. Her ears rang. The frequency was not natural. It was coming from the Judgment, and it wasn't sound. It was a message. All over Earth, scientists, children, soldiers, and even animals felt something deep inside them. A wave of thought, emotion, memory. It didn't speak in words. It spoke in feelings. Loss, pain, waiting, defense, love. The ship wasn't a weapon. It was a wound. Inside the Council chambers, chaos returned. Leaders screamed at each other. Should they retreat? Send more ships? Call for ancient weapons? Zarthan slammed his fist on the table. No more attacks. It is not just technology. It is something older than us all. Someone shouted, "Then what is it?" He turned toward the main screen, eyes steady. A warning. Suddenly, every ship in the Council fleet received a signal. The Judgment was broadcasting. A voice came smooth. echoing, and without gender. It said, "You came with fire. You offered no words. You broke the balance. You must see." One by one, every ship's system shut down. Then the screens turned white. And images began to play. Memories. But not human ones, not alien ones either. They were universal. A galaxy in flames. Civilizations rising and falling. Endless wars. Great machines made to protect and then abandoned. Then, a final image. A single planet. Earth. Of blue in the darkness. And a voice. Chosen. Not for power, but for potential. Captain Krovak screamed, "Shut it off! Shut it off!" But it couldn't be stopped. The message wasn't being played on screens. It was inside their minds. A connection had been made. Back on Earth, Dr. Myra fell to her knees, tears in her eyes. "It's not just a guardian," she whispered. "It's been searching." Her assistant asked, "Searching for what?" She looked up at the sky, for someone who would never use its power, unless they had no choice. In space, the warship closed its panels. The glowing tunnels vanished. The figure inside the chamber remained still, but now one hand had moved, only slightly, just enough to show. It was waking up. Fear spreads through. The star's third person, simple English, approximately 850 words. Across the galaxy, stars blinked strangely. In quiet corners of space, machines shut down for no reason. Old satellites began sending strange signals frequencies no one had heard in 1,000 years. Something was moving, not fast, not loud. But deep. Slow ripple through space and time. And everywhere it touched. Fear followed. In the Velkar system, a trading station near the edge of Council space, alarms began to scream. Screens turned white, and a message appeared in the air. "You will not strike again." The traders panicked. Ships collided in a rush. To escape, one old captain threw himself into an escape pod, whispering, "It has come. The Silent One." No one had spoken about the Silent One in generations. It was only a myth, a tale told to scare children. Now, it was real. In the Karakon hive world, where billions of insectoid creatures lived under one queen, the ancient warning beacons lit up for the first time in 10,000 years. The queen herself, who had not spoken aloud in a century, broke her silence. "We must not fight the Black Star," she said. "We must hide." Her voice trembled. Back in Earth's orbit, the judgment floated silently, untouched. The Council fleet was scattered, their weapons disabled, their leaders in shock. On board the flagship, Captain Krovak had locked himself in the command room. He stared at the screen, showing the humanoid figure still asleep inside the ship. "It hasn't even attacked us," he whispered. But it already won. His claws shook. His second-in-command begged for instructions. But Krovak had nothing left to say. On Earth, Dr. Myra stood on a mountaintop, watching the ship hover above the ocean. Around her, news broadcasts from across the galaxy played on holographic screens. Riots, prayers, armies standing down, entire empires calling for peace. The judgment hadn't moved in hours. It didn't need to. Just its presence had changed the balance of power. The Galactic Council called an emergency session. The chamber, once filled with arrogance and noise, was now silent. Many seats were empty. Some members refused to leave their homeworlds. Others had disappeared completely. Zarthan stood again, his voice steady. "You were warned. We all saw the vision. This ship doesn't kill for fun. It defends. It remembers." "One?" Younger counselor shouted. "Then we must destroy it before it wakes." Zarthan turned to him slowly. "You already tried." In deep space, at the far edge of the galaxy, a forgotten prison world called Varnix 9 received a strange signal. Its computers built long before the Council. even existed powered on by themselves. The same symbols from the judgment appeared. Prisoner inside the highest cell opened his eyes. A smile crept across his face. "It's awake," he whispered. Finally. Meanwhile, Earth's people were confused. Was it over? Were they safe? Dr. Myra didn't have answers. She could only watch and wait. But late that night, her screens blinked. A new pattern was forming. Different from before. Stronger. Faster. Then came a voice. Not from Earth, not from the Council, but from the ship itself. Phase 1, complete. Phase 2, connect. Myra gasped. She pressed a button. Connect. To what? The ship didn't reply. But the stars did, across the galaxy. Other ancient structures long buried, long dead, began to wake. Obelisks, cores, forgotten machines. All showing the same pattern. Each one turned slowly toward Earth. In the council chamber, panic returned. One leader shouted, "What did the humans trigger?" Zarthan closed his eyes. "They didn't trigger it," he said softly. "They were chosen." Inside the judgment, the figure's eyes opened. Just for a second. Gold light. Then darkness again. But the message had been sent. The real war hadn't even started. Asterisk. The truth behind the ship. Third person. Simple English. Approximately 850 words, Dr. Mira had never seen anything like this. The symbols on her screen were no longer random. They were forming shapes, maps, timelines, stars. But one shape kept repeating. A spiral dot. First, she thought it was just a symbol. Then she realized it was Earth's DNA dot in a secure underground vault beneath Geneva. The Earth Council gathered for a private emergency meeting. Only 10 people were present. Most had known about the Judgment warship's discovery decades ago. One man, General Ross, stood and spoke. "We thought it was alien tech. Something buried deep in the ocean from a long-dead race." He looked tired, ashamed, but it wasn't just a ship. It was watching us. Another woman asked, "For how long?" Ross sighed. "Since before we were born, since before we walked upright." Myra joined the meeting via HoloLink. She held up her tablet. "It carries human code, our own genetic markers. It's not just reacting to us. Knows us. Thousands of years ago, Earth had no cities, no machines. Just forests, fire, and stone. But somewhere in the shadows of history, a visitor had come, not to conquer, not to teach, just to plant a seed that became the judgment. Not built, not found, but left behind. Myra scrolled through the alien data now unlocked inside the ship's signal. It told a story, a war, greater than anything the galaxy had seen. Not between species, but between machines and makers. The makers created guardians to protect peace. Ships that could bend space, shield worlds, and even speak to time. But one by one, the guardians were destroyed, except one. Judgment. Damaged, silent, and lost. It drifted for centuries. Until it found Earth. It hid in the ocean. Waiting. Watching. Back in orbit. Judgment pulsed with golden light. The figure inside the chamber remained still. But the galaxy could feel the change. The ship had connected, not to a weapon system, but to every human mind. All over Earth, people started dreaming the same dream. A great war. Stars exploding. Voices calling for help. And the word, remember. The Galactic Council was in full collapse. Entire sectors had stopped answering calls. Borders were breaking. Minor races were fleeing from Council protection and turning toward Earth, not out of love, but out of fear, because they believed one thing. Earth now held the key. Zar then watched it all unfold from his chamber. He looked at the old Council seal. On the wall, now cracked, We ruled the stars with fear, he said quietly. And now fear has found us. Meanwhile, deep in Judgment's memory banks, Mira found something else. A recorded voice. Not alien.human. It was crackly old, but clear. This is Commander Ely Kane, United Earthship Omen. Year 2149. If you're hearing this, then Judgment has awakened. God help us. She froze. This recording was older than Earth's first space mission. How is this possible? She whispered. Her assistant zoomed in on the metadata. This isn't from our timeline, he said. It's from another version of Earth. Among parallel Earths. Each one given a test. Each one given the same seed. But only one had survived long enough, strong enough, wise enough to unlock it. This Earth. Myra's hands trembled. We weren't the first, she said. But we might be the last. In the sky, the Judgment ship began to move. Not forward, not upward, but inward. It folded itself. Reality bent. The space around it shimmered like water. And the voice returned. Judgment is not a weapon. Judgment is a choice. And the choice is near. Far beyond the Milky Way, something dark opened its eyes. Another ship. But this one. Broken. Twisted. Corrupted. It began to move. Toward Earth. Back on the planet. Children everywhere woke up screaming. They had seen it. Not in the sky, but in their dreams. A black star. A hunger. A warning. And one word written in fire. Reckoning. Asterisk humanities. Place among the stars. Third person. Simple English. Approximately 900 words. The Judgment warship floated in silence. Above Earth. Surrounded by the broken remains of the once proud galactic fleet, it glowed gently like a second moon. But now, something inside. It had changed. The light was no longer soft. It was pulsing. Urgent. A signal. Not to attack, but to decide. Across Earth, people gathered on rooftops, in fields, in cities gone quiet. No one spoke. They didn't need to. They all felt it. A presence. Not heavy like fear, but vast. Like standing at the edge of the ocean. Every human, from the youngest child to the oldest elder, saw the same image in their minds. A choice. Two paths. One where Earth rose as conqueror. Feared, unmatched, unchallenged. The other where Earth became something new. A guardian. A guide. A light in the darkness. But the second path came with a cost. Inside her lab, Dr. Myra stood alone, facing a screen filled with stars. Behind her, the Judgment's core pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat. She whispered, "Why us?" And the voice of the ship answered, not with words, but with memories. Mira saw images flood her mind. Dozens of Earths, from parallel timelines. On some, humans destroyed themselves. On others, they became tyrants. But on this Earth, they survived hate. They rebuilt after war. They reached out instead of striking first. They were far from perfect, but they still chose hope. In the Galactic Council chamber, only a few members remained. Zarthan stood before them, speaking one last time. "This is no longer a war of weapons," he said. "It is a war of meaning." He looked at the burning stars on the horizon. Humanity has been offered something we never earned, and somehow they may deserve it more than we ever did. Far beyond Earth, the corrupted ship the Black Star moved closer. It was once a guardian, like Judgment. Now it was something else. Empty. Angry. It had consumed 5 systems already. No fleet could stop it. No wall could block it. Only Judgment stood in its way, and Judgment did nothing. Not yet. It was still waiting, not for orders, but for humanity's answer. Back on Earth, people received the final vision. A burning sky. An alien world falling into darkness. Single child reaching out their hand, dot helping, dot fighting, and then silence, the image faded, and every human heard the words inside their soul. Will you protect? What once failed to protect itself? Dr. Mayra stood still. She knew the answer wasn't for her alone. It was for all of them, humanity. She closed her eyes and simply whispered, yes. The stars answered. The judgment came alive. Light exploded. From its surface gold, silver, and violet streams spiraling into space. Gravity bent. Time slowed. Every sensor in the galaxy lit up. The ancient codes, long forgotten, activated once more. All the other guardian structures hidden across the stars turned toward Earth. Accepting. Inside the judgment. The humanoid figure finally moved. Not fast, not violent, but calm. Eyes glowing. It stepped forward into the chamber's light and spoke one word. Ready. Across the galaxy, the black star felt it for the first time. It hesitated. Judgment surged forward, not with engines, but through space itself. One moment it hovered above Earth. The next, it was gone. A flash. A wave. Then nothing. In a forgotten corner of the universe. The two ships met, one twisted by hate, other born from hope. They didn't exchange fire. They exchanged presence. A battle not of weapons, but of will. For hours. The galaxy held its breath. Then light. So bright, it reached planets untouched by war. And silence. Back on Earth, the sky cleared. The ocean still. And in every human heart, a warmth remained. A voice, gentle, kind. The balance is restored. You chose not to rule. You chose to rise. You are ready. Years passed. The Galactic Council was no more. In its place, a new alliance was formed, not ruled by fear or power, but by shared protection. At its center was Earth. As a master, but as a keeper, a guide, a friend. And the judgment? It never returned. But every night, when the stars shone brightest, people looked up and swore they could still feel it watching, not guarding Earth, but guarding all. Asterisk.